Good evening. It's Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What's up, Grace? Our show from other Millennial news podcasts.
Nachos.
We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
A resurrected boomer.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm still learning. That's three unique perspectives we share, along with the fact from our literal round table. Today's Burn It Down Wednesday comes straight out of Florida. But first, let's dig right into our headlines. Cows adopt wild boarlet. What's going on here?
I saw
So,
that.
yeah, little wild boar baby. Apparently his flock crossed a river and he couldn't. So he found himself some cows and attached himself to their herd. And they're quite accepting and they're looking after him. And, I expect they think he looks a little odd for a calf, but whatever.
On the other
Anyway,
hand, we'll see. I could see a boar getting into it over like some friends.
yeah. Local game hunter wanted to kill him. And
No.
The farmer said no. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully they leave him
And
alone.
now you got a guard boar.
You want a boar story?
Yeah, sure.
So, stationed in Germany, we saw wild boars fairly frequently. They always ran away. It was no big deal. So, we had a brand new lieutenant. He'd been in country like a week, and we're in the field, right? So we're sleeping in tents and so on. But the officers' club is about 15 miles away, and we had driven over and had dinner and a drink. And so we come back. And in the middle of the little administrative parking lot, there is a boarlet. Actually, there are a couple of boarlets. And he looks at that. I have no idea where the hell he grew up, but he jumps out of the Jeep. Now, this is a plastic-sided, cloth-sided, but they're made of plastic Jeep. Jumps out, slams the door, runs over, and picks up the boarlet, which of course is totally freaked and shrieking for its mother, who came running.
Uh-huh.
And so he realizes this big
Yeah.
female wild boar is going to kill him.
This motorcycle sized boar. Like, how big do boars get?
It's scooter sized,
How big is this boar?
about the size of a medium dog,
Okay.
right? But just all muscle. About the size of the biggest javelina you've ever seen.
Yikes.
So anyway, she chases him up on the hood of the Jeep, and she's hurling herself at the hood of the Jeep. And it becomes absolutely clear that she can claw her way onto the hood of the Jeep, and she's going to do it. And he's still holding the fucking boarlet.
Put down the baby, man.
So we're shrieking at him first to get on the roof, which we hope will stay up. Of course, this is a mistake because as soon as he's on the roof, she's over there trying to climb the door on my side of the Jeep. And she's got sharp little hoofies. And she's going to get through that plastic. And then she's going to eat me.
Yeah.
And so now we're all shrieking, "Drop the baby!" So to his credit, we attracted her to the far side of the Jeep. And he leaned way down and dropped it about a foot. But anyway, so it didn't get hurt. It ran to Mama. And then they all ran away.
Good.
So, because I wasn't sure she was done trying to get us.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'm sure if he had gotten down, right?
oh yeah.
That's funny. All right. Putin and friends continue their dick walk. What is this about?
Now that's when you put on your golf shoes, lay your dick on the ground, and start hiking.
Yikes.
Yeah.
They should stop. First rule of all, stop digging.
So anyway, Russia's still working to mobilize reservists. Putin
Yeah,
announced the call
Into
up
other
for
countries.
300,000. There's been huge pushback. So he's kind of rolled back which groups would be affected. And it's kind of interesting because the categories include, first-time students at accredited institutions, certain type of postgraduate students like those in hard sciences, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things to notice about Putin and his call-up is that it's quite clear that what Russia is trying to do
Oh shit.
is they're trying to send their barbarians against the barbarians in Ukraine.
They're bleeding themselves white.
They are, and they're sending the hinterlands, right? Yeah, the ones
The
who
people
always
that
get
the
screwed.
Russians don't think of as Russians.
That's Russia. That's exactly what.
Fuck.
Huh? I love them for
Which
it.
will open up space, which is why they're bringing in Ukrainians.
Hadn't thought of that one.
Yeah, no.
So let's see, what else has he done? So he signs the decree to formalize Russia's seizure of the reactor. The folks who run the reactor say, yeah, right. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I still think we should send NATO.
Yeah, no, I think NATO should take over
Yep.
that reactor and just be done with it. Be like, until this war is done, we are in charge of this reactor, period.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
NATO's got a nuclear safety team who can shoot and do whatever this is. They can provide security
Put
while
a
real
50-mile
science gets do the other.
demilitarized zone around it and
Yep.
don't let anybody in.
Yeah.
Yep. Just ridiculous.
You want to have your shitty little war and we're, for reasons unknown, not willing to get into it? Cool. But you can't play here.
Right. You didn't play nicely when you was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they obviously can't handle it. They almost fucking melted it down, like, what, twice?
It was never in real danger. The problem was they were down to when they didn't have external power. If you shut down the reactor, you have to keep it cool actively cooled for several days. And if your generators don't last long enough, yeah, it'll melt down. So anyway, when they lost their external power, they shut the reactor down and turned on the generators. But that came and went, and so. But you want to have the generators for an emergency, and you want the outside power to cool your fucking reactor if you shut it down.
Right.
So they are now in. The last time I heard, they're all in cold stop. So anyway. Russia's ambassador to the U.S., Anatoly Antonov, said there was an immediate threat to Moscow, describes the U.S. as a participant in the conflict. Hey, fucktards.
Okay.
There was a time when people in Europe were afraid of you.
Yeah.
They watched the Ukrainians manhandle you.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world is afraid of you anymore. Go ahead and rattle your goddamn sabers. You've got one left, and you won't believe what happens if you ever use it.
Yep.
So, anyway. So we don't need NATO. We can take you on one-on-one
Yeah.
from where we sit now and destroy you. So, fuck you.
Yeah. Ain't nobody gonna be living in Russia.
And
for a
our
long
shit
time.
works. Everyone you sold a garbage security package to has got to be looking at their crates of your shit going,
What
fuck,
the
guys.
Yeah.
You see that none of that stuff worked, right?
So, and now the next thing they're talking about is, well, there are only a few hundred, Westerners who really hate Russia and are doing this to us, so we've got a kill list. To which my response is, have the fuck hat.
Do it.
Yeah. You're really not going to like what happens in that.
Nope. Not
Nobody
even a little
used
bit.
threats from Russia to do bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't fucking buy into this shit. All right. How do you make a central banker happy? That's a good question.
You want to know how you make a central banker happy?
Take them out of the water.
No. You reduce the number of job openings from 11.17 to something below 10. And that makes the central banks really happy. And that's part of why the stock market jumped 1,500 points in 2 days.
Something bad happened to the working folk.
Nothing make a central banker sadder than the thought that some working guy got a job. So, and they went on to explain how the tight job market was responsible for inflation and blah, 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 which is, it's a tiny fraction of the real problem. The real problems are, yeah, there's a real shortage of some stuff, and American corporations are gouging their customers left and right. So, but those are okay with the central bank, so they're all right with that.
Part of maximizing stock shareholder value.
The job market is the primary driver of inflation. It's pig shit. Anybody who tells you that's a fool. So, anyway, now you know who not to listen to.
Fair. All right. Let's move on to Just Foxcom. Alex Jones is running away. What's he running away from?
Did not present a defense in Connecticut.
Oh, he's
Well.
got no defense to...
Was this another one of the ones he defaulted on?
Yes.
So we're not even at a defense, but yeah.
No, this is a real trial.
Oh, fair.
Yes, but he was... this is like... I thought this was like the Texas one where
No.
they're just talking...
Okay.
Oh.
There is no benefit for him taking the field, plus it puts him in a position of commenting on it, and he has a tendency to say crazy fucking actionable
Yeah,
shit.
he is
Yep.
aggressively pissed off. This
He said they're
judge.
trying to get him to commit perjury by taking the fifth. They're saying he was innocent. He's just running away.
Oh,
Did he
Alex
just
Jones-
say it'd be perjury if he said he was innocent?
uh-huh.
Okay.
He's
not allowed to
really
say
cute.
anything.
Yeah.
He's really cute when he runs
Because
away.
he's already been
Because that
convicted.
furry little tail sticking out from between his legs. I'm assuming he's one of those who uses a litter box. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Make perfect sense.
Nah, he's too into it with the frogs. It's fine.
So let's see, what's next? Yes. So we have Herschel Walker claiming that he won his battle with mental illness. I couldn't pass that one up. Take one look at that and go, wow, your definition of win must be very, very odd.
No, and this is part of the fucking tragedy, because Riz and I were talking about this a while back, where, right, when people do reach out for mental health and stuff, the number of shitheads on the internet whose first reflexive answer is so thoughtlessly, have you tried religion? Yeah, no, I'm not sure we should give the person who can't tell the difference between real and make-believe fucking God shit right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
I would literally be more comfortable if you gave them cocaine, because at least then they believe in themselves. The God stuff all requires you believe you are yourself imperfect, and only this thing outside of you can also give us your money and children.
Yeah.
No, it's like when people, like, I've seen people who have spent their whole life working hard to get things and whatever, and when you're like, wow, that's really great, good job. Well, if it wasn't for God, I'm like, first of all, even if you do believe in God, he gave you free will. He didn't give you the skills. You earned these skills. I watched you build them, you know, and I've seen you turn this into an empire. Like, that was all you. God had nothing to do with it. I really hate when people downplay their own efforts in life. And
No, but I think at the same time, every reasonably successful person can point to a dozen times in their life when luck or a friend or whatever helped them out.
Yeah.
And so, again,
I still don't call that God. I call that a friend or a good opportunity.
peace and rapture. I'm just saying,
Those things come along naturally. God has nothing to do with it.
yeah, there are no self-made men. So,
You mean they didn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps?
love that image.
All right. Boomer Rex is about damn time. Tell me the good news.
Oh, God, I love this one. So, Gretchen Whitmer, right.
Ah, yes.
So, Democratic governor. She was asked to give the keynote address at the Mackinac Policy Conference in May. And everybody assumed she'd show up and talk about, you know, growing Michigan and so forth and so on and so on. So instead, she got up and said, as we chase our collective success, we must also be a state where women have bodily autonomy and equal rights. And the room exploded in cheers and applause.
Yeah.
So, now May, that was before Roe v. Wade. So Whitmer has definitely diagnosed the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she has made abortion access front and central to her campaign, and she talks about it all the time.
Millstone would hang around every Republican. It's the only thing I'd talk about if I were Democrats. And if anyone maybe talk about a second thing, like at gunpoint,
Yep.
I'd talk about minimum wage, and that's fucking it.
The Republicans are actually openly asking her not to talk about abortion. Of course, the thing to do is look at them and laugh.
Yeah.
So,
Nah, man, you fucked this, pup. You're on your own. Like, Motherfucker, you're a dog that caught a car. Good luck.
All right, tell me about our dumbass of the day. Who gets the crown?
You know, it's not often, and this didn't happen today, but I found out about it today, was that when Donald Trump was president, he told Mark Esper that he wanted to take care of the drug labs in Mexico by firing rockets at them.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
And he said, you know, we'll just tell them we didn't do it and everybody will believe us and so forth and so on. And he said, you know, we can take out those labs. Nobody will know it was us. He was advocating firing Patriot missiles into Mexico to kill the drug labs.
Idiot. Because nobody would notice that.
And know what the Patriot missile does?
Well,
Not what I
as
would
far
use.
as I know, there were no airborne drug labs.
Yeah.
So the Patriot wasn't going to be a lot of help. So, but again, it's just a measure of the incompetence of the Orange Flu.
It's the stealth thing all over again. Motherfucker really does believe there's an invisible plane. No, yeah, we could probably tell Mexico that, hey, we're going to kill the cartels, and in the morning you should probably say it was amazing cartel violence, they all shot each other. Huh. I expect a shrug no bigger than when those kids vanished that one time.
Right.
So, and yeah, you could probably push that through, but I'm not sure that's the answer, and what would reassemble afterwards would be infinitely worse.
Yeah, well, he didn't do it. That's all that matters. Fucking idiot.
Again, it's another one of those he won't give the order. And thank God for it.
No, he's just too fucking dumb. Like,
Yeah.
just.
He is personally a fucking coward. He is afraid that he will get in trouble for something. He will never say no to the mob, right? And he wants to lead the mob, but he also won't be the one that shouts whatever the crazy shit the mob's gonna do. Right? That's gonna have to be someone else, and the problem is the world is full of that guy.
Yep.
Or gal. Yep, 90s with it, me.
Right. All right. Marjorie Taylor Greene's smokescreen of the day.
Speaking of that guy. So anyway, this past weekend, Greene attacked Pete Buttigieg for his support of electric cars. She said, Democrats like Pete Buttigieg want to emasculate the way we drive and force all of you to rely on electric vehicles while they shut down your great Michigan auto industry. That's who's making the electric vehicles, you dim-witted bitch.
Plus, we were the ones that bailed them out, so they still exist.
But it makes perfect sense that she and the men around her would associate their masculinity with their trucks, same way that their guns.
They think they're gonna go Mad Max and it's gonna work out.
Well, and they're
in their favor, which no.
It's displacement. They're trying to make up for having a dick too small to notice.
Well, a personality no one wants to touch, let alone the rest of your horror show.
Now, if you're emasculated by driving an electric vehicle, I have no words for you. Like, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
Like, you need to talk with your mom or something. Like, I don't know. It's
that segment of the market that made the modern car industry decide that they had to make up the engine noise with the fucking car stereo. Because, that's right, aluminum block doesn't sound the way you think it does. And you can make some nice engines out of it, for goddamn sure. But it's not going to sound like American muscle cars did, because it's not the same thing. It's not even the same fucking idea.
So anyway, Buttigieg was asked about her comments on Fox News. He said, my sense of manhood is not connected to whether my vehicle is fueled by gasoline or electricity. It's just a practical matter.
Yeah. And in fact, I would prefer to not be fighting people in electric vehicles. Because when they
So the Fox News host followed that up and asked Buttigieg if he was offended. You know, it was a strange thing to say. But to be honest, there are other members of Congress I pay more attention to.
Right?
I like you, Pete. Keep it up.
Yep. Again, get a little dirty and get ready to throw your fucking consultant buddies under the bus and lead an FDR style, like, raid against the rich, and
and get ready to throw some fucking elbows.
Yeah, no, I fucking
Show us how masculine you are. Fucking get at these assholes. All right, same old grift. We're talking about Trump again.
Yeah, so for those of you who are wondering about
Does he get a cold?
Trump's suit against CNN, the 475 million, babbledy. And every lawyer who's looked at it has gone away giggling.
Yeah, we were laughing about that yesterday.
Counter to him back.
So, but that wasn't the point. The point is he's out there fundraising.
Yep.
He said, I'm suing Corrupt News Network for defaming and slandering my name because when they come for me, they're really after you.
Oh, yeah.
Send me money. So again, same old drift.
Yep.
I guess the old one, the election thing was running low.
It's that ability to walk up to a microphone and just start talking. Just believe your own shit for as long as the lights are
Oh, I
on.
think this was well planned, isn't
Oh,
it?
I'm certain. CNN said again, sue him back. This is defamation. This is whatever it has.
Absolutely.
Tie his ass up, get him in Discovery, and let's play some fucking games.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how this plays out, but I think it's a big fucking joke. And you know what? Let him take his money from his fucking idiot followers. Fucking give Trump money. I don't care.
That is actually the nice thing, right? There are places I would be more concerned if that
If
money
they were
going.
spending the money. Yep.
Yeah, that he is that money is going to Donald Trump. That money's not going anywhere else that doesn't help Donald Trump. So that's better than DeSantis, any of the super PACs.
Oh my god, I saw this really creepy video of like Trump and DeSantis next to each other. He does all the same hand gestures and everything.
Oh,
Super
if
creepy.
I were DeSantis, that's what I would have done. The last 2 years of Trump's presidency is I would have gotten really good at doing a Trump impersonation, and then I'd have blended the edges a little. So no, Democrats should fucking lead the charge in a populist wave. We know that the poor working class, like white people, aren't what's supporting Trump. Right? It's the shitty managers of tiny businesses who are. Mm-hmm. And right, again, I'm not saying all of that group is shitty, but the shitty ones are a lot Trump.
All right. So,
Moving on to updates with
Yep.
BoomerX. Health threats.
toxoplasmosis.
Yes.
Researchers have discovered that those infected with toxoplasmosis,
Like me.
right, have higher tribalism, right?
Yeah. Have you seen this?
The us versus them mentality. It's also associated with lower cultural liberalism and a lower anti-authoritarianism.
Bullshit.
So,
Last time I saw this being done, the person was arguing that half the French were infected. So no.
yeah, I don't know how many people are infected. But, hey, it's widespread.
I had heard lower inhibitions and several other things. So, right, higher risk taking.
It's a whole, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they went through the whole list.
Yeah. It just shows all the ones that don't sound like fun. I don't want them to be like me.
All right, and we have a book on climate weirding tonight.
I trusted you, brain lesions.
So, the new models are saying we really have screwed this up.
Ah.
The droughts that we saw across the northern hemisphere this summer that wrecked a bunch of crops.
Yeah.
Similar droughts in Asia did similar things. What the studies show is that a 1 in 400 year event is now possible nearly every year. So, and it's all because of the rise in temperature.
Yeah.
That it puts a high pressure over the area. It does a lot of things.
Yeah, it weights everything the
keep
bad
the-
way.
yeah. So anyway, and the thing to note, of course, is that the failure of the crops in the U.S. and in Asia are going to contribute to the inability to get the crops out of Ukraine, right? Are going to add to that food
Yeah.
shortage. So, hey, we may be about to learn a fun lesson. And again, it's an example of these places were the grain baskets because the climate was such that they were the grain baskets.
Fuck, Russia probably could have muddied the
climate
waters
change.
better by announcing that that's why they were invading Ukraine. You said, bitch, we're Russia. We're, right, we are a not fucking around global power back when people thought they were, or at least were willing to nod at the idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, climate change means we're going to have trouble producing food. We're not sure where it's going to be good for farming. We're taking this. Right? By international law, fuck you, I'm bigger, has more wiggle room than their special operation to denazify and blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd gotten the same shit kicked out of them because, again, turns out Russia was fucking hollowed out from the inside by the rich sons of bitches.
Paper tiger.
Yeah.
All right, so I promised I'd tell you more about that town. All right, so
What happened in this town?
yeah, this town is really interesting. So CNN .com did an article on it by Rachel Ramirez. It's called "This 100% Solar Community
Yes.
Endured Hurricane Ian with No Loss of Power and Minimal Damage." So it says, Anthony Grande moved away from Fort Myers 3 years ago, blah, 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 about some hurricanes he went through. He told CNN he wanted to find a new home where developers prioritized climate resiliency in a state that's increasingly vulnerable to record-breaking storm surge, catastrophic wind, and historic rainfall. What he found was Baycock Ranch, only 12 miles northeast of Fort Myers, yet seemingly light years away. Babcock Ranch calls itself America's first solar-powered town. Its nearby solar array, made up of 700,000 individual panels, generates more electricity than the 2,000 home neighborhood uses in a state where most electricity is generated by burning gas, a planet-warming fossil fuel. The streets in this meticulously planned neighborhood were designed to flood, so houses don't. Native landscaping along roads helps control stormwater. Power and internet lines are buried to avoid wind damage. This is all in addition to being built to Florida's robust building codes. Some residents, like Grande, installed more solar panels on their roof and added battery systems as an extra layer of protection from power outages. Many drive electric vehicles, taking full advantage of solar energy in the Sunshine State. Climate resiliency was built into the fabric of the town with stronger storms in mind. So when Hurricane Ian came barreling towards the southwest Florida this week, it was a true test for the community. The storm obliterated the nearby Fort Myers and Naples area with a record-breaking surge and winds over 100 miles per hour. It knocked out power to more than 2.6 million customers in the state, including 90% of Charlotte County. But the lights stayed on in Babcock Ranch. It certainly exceeded our expectations of a major hurricane, Grande 58 told CNN. The storm uprooted trees and tore shingles from roofs, but other than that, Grande said there is no major damage. Its residents say Babcock Ranch is proof that an eco-conscious and solar-powered town can withstand the wrath of a near Category 5 storm. We have proof of the case now because the hurricane came right over us, Nancy Chaperoning, a 68-year-old Babcock Ranch resident, told CNN. We have water, electricity, internet, and we may be the only people in Southwest Florida who are that fortunate. Grande said Hurricane Ian came through Southwest Florida like a freight train, but he wasn't afraid that he would lose everything in the storm like he was when he lived in Fort Myers. We were very, very blessed and fortunate to not be experiencing what they're experiencing now in Sanibel Island and Fort Myers Beach, Grande said. In the times that we're living in right now with climate change, the beach is not the place to live or have a business. Sid Kitson, a former professional football player for the Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys, is the mastermind behind Babcock Ranch. Kitson envisioned it to be eco-conscious and innovative neighborhood that is safe and resilient from storms like Ian. The ranch broke ground in 2015 with the construction of the solar array, which was built and is run by Florida Power and Lights. Its first residents moved into the town in 2018. Since then, the array has doubled in size, and thousands of people have made Babcock their home. It's a great case study to show that it can be done right if you build in the right place and do it the right way, said Lisa Hall, a spokesperson for Kinston, who also lives in Babcock Ranch. Throughout all this, there's just so many people saying it worked, that this was the vision. This is the reason we moved here, Hall told CNN. Perhaps the highest endorsement for the city is that it is now a refuge for some of Ian's hardest hit victims. The state opened Babcock Neighborhood School as an official shelter. Even though it didn't have the mandated generator, the solar array kept the lights on. Some of Chaperoning's friends who live on Sanibel Island, which is now cut off from the mainland after Ian's devastating storm surge severed the causeway, came to shelter at a friend's house at Babcock Ranch. It will be a while before they can go back, she said. They're going to be renting a place over here for a while, blah, 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 blah. Even Kitson chose to ride out the storm in Babcock to see how the community would fare in the hurricane. Kitson declined CNN's request for an interview. Hall said he is focused on helping neighboring communities rebuild. He was there during the storm, he said. Where else would I be? Hall said. We built it to be resilient, and as much as you plan and think you've done the right thing, you don't know until you put it to the test. As utilities scramble to restore power across the state, Babcock residents say September storms showed that America's energy infrastructure is not well equipped to handle worsening extreme weather events. Hurricane Fiona ravaged Puerto Rico's power grid when it made landfall there on September 18th. Now Ian has left millions of people in the dark in Florida. Babcock residents say their neighborhood is a model for urban development in a climate change ravaged future. It's not what it was 20 or 25 years ago. The storms are getting bigger and bigger, and that it's no surprise because the warnings have all been there, Grande said. I think Babcock Ranch's future has gotten even brighter. Wonderful. Well done, Babcock Ranch.
Yeah.
I love it. That is very exciting. And again, this was just something I had to share with y'all because it was just so cool.
It can be done.
Yeah, no, and it can be done right. And here's a chance, Florida. Here's a chance, Ron DeSantis. You have to rebuild neighborhoods. Maybe this isn't a bad way to look at it. And I looked at the pricing of the houses in this neighborhood, and they are very much on par with houses around the state of Florida. They're not, the prices aren't, inflated or anything like that. So, well done. I was very impressed. All right, so now let's get into Burn It Down Wednesday. So, the Palm Beach Post wrote an article. Florida student athletes asked to report their menstrual history. Here are the questions. It was written by Catherine Kokol of the Palm Beach Post. Florida student athletes have to answer more than 36 questions with their doctors before they can be cleared to practice or play. Do you have any chronic illnesses? Do you have asthma? Have you broken any bones or dislocated any joints? Have you ever had chest pain during or after exercise? All these questions directly relate to athletes' fitness to play sports and injury prevention. But for female athletes, other questions on the form can get a little awkward. And now they're getting controversial over abortion and privacy concerns. For more than 20 years, the Florida State High School Athletic Association has asked female athletes to answer the following questions on their pre-participation form. Number 1, when was your first menstrual period? Number 2, when was your most recent menstrual period? Number 3, how much time do you usually have from the start of one period to the start of another? Number 4, how many periods have you had in the last year? And number 5, what is the longest time between periods in the last year? The questions are marked as optional. Period history is important information for pediatricians to know as they screen for bleeding and hormonal conditions that can cause complications for athletes. But in Florida, all of the medical data is then turned over to the athlete's school, contrary to other states that require only the physician's signature page to clear them to play. Although the questions are nothing new, athletes, their families, and their doctors are taking a closer look at where this information goes after the overturning of Roe v. Wade this summer by the U.S. Supreme Court. With reproductive privacy and parental rights over children's data top of mind, both abortion rights advocates and concerned parents have raised alarms about the questions and how they can be used. I don't think it was our intent for this information to be shared with anyone else, one physician who served on a national committee that wrote a similar form said. The bottom line for the coach is, are they clear or not? The rest of the information is between the athlete and their family. The Palm Beach Post dug into where these questions came from, why they're asked, and how parents, doctors, and coaches are thinking about reproductive privacy and data security differently in a post-Roe world. Yeah. So here's my thing. Even though this part of the form is marked optional, you cannot give forms like these to children, to young women who don't understand the difference between what these people need to know and what is not their business. Because yes, it is important for your doctor to know your menstrual cycles and that sort of thing, to an extent. If you know you have regular menstrual cycles and all that stuff, you do not need to tell your doctor when the last time you had a period was, unless you are having an issue that could potentially be involved with your uterus, of course. But I've heard more recently about people refusing to even tell their doctors what their, when the last time they've had a period was, because, yeah, it's really something you have to be careful about nowadays. So this information is going from being written on paper and kind of maybe people glance at it. Now they're going to digitize it, which means that there's going to be a solid record that will be easy to find, potentially for courts and stuff, with these Roe v. Wade bullshit. And, Ron DeSantis doesn't give a fuck about your children no matter what he says. So we know that this is definitely going to be used badly. This is just ridiculous and insane, and it is digging into women's privacy for absolutely no benefit and no purpose. When I was a teenager, I had friends who, maybe didn't have regular periods yet, because when you first get them, whatever, stress, especially if you're athletic, lots of things can cause you to miss a period, and it's really none of my coaches, it's none of their business whether I'm having a period regularly or not.
It's something you need to keep on record.
Yes, no. And the fact that they ask you when you had your first one, and then when your last one was, how long between your periods. Why do they care how long between your periods? Why do they care how many periods you have? This is, this is just so inappropriate. It'd be like asking a boy, if they've had wet dreams, how often they have them, and how long between them. Like, you wouldn't ask them that on something like this. It's not that much different. It's personal information that is personal, And again, yeah, maybe that's something that a teenage boy needs to talk to their doctors about. But it's not something they need to talk to their fucking coach about.
I don't know how any of it's pertinent to my goddamn children.
Uh-huh. I played all the sports when I was a kid, and I promise you, I was never asked anything about my fucking period. That's disgusting. So, anyway, this is just insane, and it needs to stop, okay? This needs to go away. And Florida should be embarrassed because it's really none of their business. So, on that note,
Imagine if we lived in a world where Florida was capable of feeling embarrassed.
oh my God, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful? So anyway, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Smash that like button on YouTube. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerX or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BRexTonight. And if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us. Again, comment on our Facebook and tell me if you want me to stream Beat Saber. I could certainly do that. So I love you all, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night for more Boomer Rex Tonight.